In this old guy DIY video, I will be telling you about two different websites that I recommend that you use when looking to buy used vehicles, and tell you a little bit of a story about what we like to call a Tinder truck. So a Tinder truck is, something where you think it looks good, it looks promising, and then you get there and turns out that she's 30 pounds heavier than you thought, or something else like that. So anyways, I'm looking at a 2005 Chevrolet Suburban here. You look through the pictures, 4,500 bucks, 160,000 miles. Looking through the pictures, you can tell it requires a little bit of work, but it looks like it could be decent. Not too much rust, which is in Michigan is a big deal. Tinted windows, interior looks nice, leather, but not much more that you can tell about that. So, I reach out and I always ask, how long have you owned the vehicle? Does it have any issues that you know of? And, give a little description. In this case, I was about an hour north of where the seller was. So the seller came back and said, no lights. They've owned it for 2 years, and the only thing that doesn't work is the seat. So, sounds like it might be something that I'm interested in. I go further in this chat, tried to ask the seller for the VIN. The seller would not give me the VIN. I think I get that. Yeah. May I have the VIN number? And they say, I have someone ahead of you. I don't give out VINs. I got fucked over doing that. So I had a buddy make the drive who was a little bit closer. He ran over there and got the VIN number for me. And then I was able to take a look and figure out and make some decisions that ultimately led to me not buying this Tinder truck. So the first website that I use here is called Comp9. It only works for certain models. You can see the list up here. I'm a GM guy, so it has never failed me. You put in the VIN number. I think it's $1 per report, which is pretty cheap. And this is just going to look at all of the RPO codes and tell you different information about the vehicle that the seller might not know or might not list. Specifically for me, the one that I find most people don't know about is this rear end ratio. So it's a GT5, it's a 410 rear end ratio, which is my personal favorite. So by paying this dollar and looking this up, I can see that this has some desirable traits that the seller clearly didn't know about or wasn't advertising. You can also look at the transmission in case the year that you're looking at has different transmission options. Look at the engine. You can learn about the different trims that were offered, the different packages. So this is a 1SZ package. You can find the OEM paint color in here in case you need to touch anything up, figure out if it has navigation, lots of different things, good information to have. So I usually start here just to build up more of a story about the vehicle, figure out a little bit about it. And then I go to the next website, which gives more detail. So I'll use this one to see if the vehicle has the specs that I want, and then if I proceed to the next step. So in this case, I saw the 410s, I really like that, so then I move to the next step. So the next website that I use, and probably the more important one for the majority of people, is called EpicVin. It is a paid service. I believe one report is $15, and the biggest you can buy is 16 reports for like $80. So it comes out to around $5 per report or something. You can see I just bought 16 of them earlier today because I expect to be using this more as I continue to look for a vehicle. And although you might get turned off by the price, this is the best $15 or $5, whatever you spend is the best investment that you can make when buying a used vehicle, because you will learn everything there is to learn that the current owner may not know or may know and be hiding from you. In this case, this is that Chevrolet Suburban that we were looking at. So we ran the VIN. You can see if they have reported the odometer being rolled back, see any safety recalls, any accidents, the last mileage that was reported, sales history, and owners. You can look at the ownership history. So in this case, someone bought it new in 2005 and they owned it almost 10 years and put 109,000 miles on it. The second person bought it in 2014 and then put on about 60,000 miles. And here, the vehicle details is not that useful in my opinion. This is a dumbed down version of what we saw with Comp 9. No problems on the odometer check. It'll show any history as far as maintenance or title switching hands, things like that. And then down here you get more detail about the owners. So you can see dates, the mileage, what happened. So although the lady said that she'd owned it for 2 years, we can see that quite a bit happened in the last 3 years that wasn't mentioned. So it was offered for sale at auction, which is we're probably going to find out relates to that accident. Then it was sold by a dealer, and then it was sold by a dealer. And this one is interesting because this is about 2 months ago. So if she owned it for 2 years, why is it for sale by a dealer 2 months ago? Safety recalls, I usually don't pay attention to this, but you can if you want. Junk and salvage and insurance. This is good to know if you're buying a stolen vehicle or a salvage one, especially with Hurricane Ian going on right now. There's going to be a whole bunch of salvage titles floating around soon. There's some title history here. This is another one that was interesting. So this says that just 3 weeks ago, a brand new title was issued in the state of Michigan, title and registration. So again, if the lady has owned it for 2 years, why was a title issued 3 weeks ago? And here you can see all of the other past history as well. So you can see 3 weeks ago a title was issued, 2 years ago a title was issued. Here's the one that relates to that auction. They check a database to see if the vehicle has been stolen. They check a bunch of different other databases to see, fire, hail, flood, stuff like that. And then vehicle damages. This is one you'll want to pay attention to. I've been in many situations where the owner either doesn't know or purposely lies about an accident. In this case, there was an impact in the right rear in 2019, and then after that, the vehicle went up for auction. So we don't know if it was totaled, what the deal was. Sales history down here, it will look at different times it was listed, show you the dealership, the mileage. So in 2018, it was for sale for $6,500 and it had 135,000 miles, and it was in Illinois. And then you can click through and see the condition of the vehicle, see if there's been any changes, if they're trying to hide anything with this. In this case, the vehicle looks pretty much how it did in 2018, or whenever this one was. And in this case, this is actually valuable too because the person listing the truck didn't have very good pictures of the interior. So here you can see, what options it had, captain seats, clean interior, steering wheel controls, heated seats, all valuable information to have while you're making your decision. We go down a bit further and we can see the auction that happened. So we don't know what it sold for. We know that the odometer was around 148,000 and it was again in Illinois. And as you're looking at it, it kind of looks like there's a film over the windshield here. There's something going on at the top of the car. I'm not sure if this is kind of an impact mark as well. And they said it was the right rear of the vehicle. I didn't see any damage in this area, but this is when it went up for auction. I'm assuming this is the damage that was repaired. Also, you can see in light font here, this was an insurance auto auction. So at this point, we're assuming the vehicle was in an accident, it was considered totaled, it got fixed, and then went up for auction. You can see again, another sale happened in 2020, so $5,000, again in Illinois. Tells you who was selling it, shows you pictures. So in here, you notice a noticeably darker windshield. This is definitely tinted. In the other pictures, we don't know if it was this dark or what the case is. The same rims, but they're painted black. So just building your case, learning what you can learn about the vehicle. And then we see this one. So about 2 months ago, it was listed for $3,900, which is interesting because it is now for sale for $4,500. And when we look at these pictures, we can see noticeable rust on the quarter panel that wasn't shown in other pictures. So that shows that someone's spray painting over it, plastic dipping it, doing something to conceal that rust. And just kind of interesting, why is it up for sale 2 months ago if the lady said she's owned it for 2 years? And that's about all that this site offers. It'll tell you some market analysis, auction price, show you some other ones, depreciation, all this other happy stuff. But basically, you're just building a story, trying to learn as much as you can about the vehicle. From there, I went and Googled the VIN, and I actually found the ad from 2 months ago where the vehicle was listed. So you can see here, it says it was in Coldwater, Michigan with a guy named Douglas about 2 months ago. You've got a bunch more pictures here. Again, you can see what appears to be damage here. Certainly rust. Again, rust or damage. Look through, get better interior pictures than what was posted. Just kind of learn a bit more about the vehicle. Flat tire in the front, so that tire may not hold air, maybe an indication of an accident, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, between the seller's story and all the information that we found here, we determined that this was not a good vehicle to take a risk on, and that's how we got there.